idea how efficient people get. It's completely, it's off the charts. What would you be like? 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 What would you be like?
4, 3, 2, 1. And we are live.
Hello, hello.
Episode 21. Andrew Parker in the house. Bullduck Gaming. Picked last podcast. What else am I missing?
Let's see. You got Bullduck. You got picked last.
Your band.
Yeah, the band. If you like the band Attack, we're an Attack cover band called No Defeat.
I like that.
Yeah, we're working on new stuff, but like original stuff. But that's a little down the pipeline, so we're kind of doing this for fun while that's going on. So yeah, I mean, with Bullduck, there's the Twitch stream, Bullduck Gaming. So got a whole bunch of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Podcasting, doing music, you know.
I've seen the Bullduck is that you're streaming all the new hits. You guys were on the Apex Legends wave. What was I saw the other day? You guys started streaming Jump Force.
Yeah.
How's Jump Force?
Jump Force
seems to be a torn community on Jump Force.
Yeah, it's a very interesting game. It's interesting because me and Brian, like, we have select animes that, like, we've seen here and there, but I can't pretend that I know half the characters in this game.
Gotcha.
Like,
so you guys have seen your share of anime, but you wouldn't call yourself anime nerds.
Yeah.
Just yet, anyway.
We stumbled upon the game previous to this. It was called J-Star's Victory Verse Plus, and it's...
Okay.
The Shonen Jump loves putting out these games where it's like, you know, it's kind of like their Smash Brothers with everything going on. And it was a fun game. It had its issues. But when this one was announced, we were like, oh, this looks sick. It almost looked like a AAA take on what the past game was, where they were getting serious about it and doing it. I will say that the in-game fighting is on point. Like,
yeah,
it feels like an anime battle. The way, like, you have all these abilities.
And is it smooth? Because, like, when I'm watching it, it looks wild. It looks like you're doing, like, 50 inputs at once.
It is super button mashy.
Yeah.
Like, it is, like, mash triangle and square. Then you hold R2 to do all of your abilities that you want to do.
Gotcha.
You have, like, this weird stamina meter because you could do, like, a Dragon Ball charge. So, like, you have all these things going on. And what's weird to me is that everything besides the gameplay and combat is kind of very subpar.
Okay.
Like, for example, the story mode. Let me, like, give you a synopsis of what's going on in the story mode. So, the game cold opens with Frieza coming through a portal into Times Square. And just
That's awesome.
Just starts blowing everything up in Times Square. Goku shows up, and they're having a battle in Times Square. Goku dodges this blast that hits you, an innocent New York bystander. You die. At this point, Trunks and some robot come over and, like, revive you, and they just, like, take you to their anime world, where you become, like, a superhero. And at this point, they start throwing, like, Avengers meets Kingdom Hearts at you. Where it's like, oh, we have to stop these guys, so we've assembled, you know, the best Shonen Jump characters that we could, and also every bad guy is being taken over by these evil cubes inside of them, and you have to capture these cubes. I was like, where have I seen this before? Where? This seems very familiar.
How does the player's personal avatar or personal character play into it? Is it like, because I think they did this in Dragon Ball FighterZ, where the fighters treated you like you were their Link, and, like, the better bond they had with you, the better fighter they were. Like, when you're fighting as Goku, is the player who got hit in Times Square a part of that at all? Or...
basically, it's like this whole, like, movie is happening around you.
Okay.
Where, like, you're involved in it, but your guy doesn't talk. Like, he's just kind of there in every fight. They always kind of mention that you're, like, a human, but for some reason, you could do all these abilities. Like, for some reason, I could just throw, like, spirit bombs. Like, for some reason.
It was that Frieza blast, man. It knocked something loose.
And, like, it's just weird because, like, every fight will start with, like, the dramatic zoom in on everybody. Like you know, they have, like, their one-liner before the fight starts. And then, like, it zooms in on your guy and he just, like, stares at the camera. It's very
no
very
voice
awkward.
line.
Yeah.
No voice. Jesus. They don't even have default voice lines they could have given you.
Like, you choose a voice line, and all it does is choose, like, what your grunts are when you're fighting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The entire game is it's like a sub. There's subtitles in English. It's all the original voice actors.
That's cool.
Yeah, the one that bothers me is Goku because they have
It's a female
They have,
doing
like-
it, and it's really high pitched, and it's almost uncharacteristic for the way that we were presented him in the English dub.
Yeah, because I've seen very select Dragon Ball. The way it was described to me is that it is like supposed to be young Goku as the voice actor or the actress,
Gotcha. Okay.
and that they just for some reason kept that for him as this adult, and it sounds very
It's
very
ridiculous.
jarring. Yeah.
Well, I think one of the things, like, I know you said you've only seen a select amount of Dragon Ball. I think a lot of what goes over people's heads about the Dragon Ball series is that it's knowingly absurd, it's attempting to be absurd, and it wants to make you laugh at how absurd it is. And that goes over everybody's head because everybody wants to believe that every piece of media they're watching is some, like, Shakespearean masterpiece that's going to change the world. But it's like, no, a lot of Japanese media, and they're successful at it, is really just about being absurd. And, like, there's morals and lessons and values you can take from these stories, but at the end of the day, you're watching a cartoon of people whose hair color changes when they power up, and they shoot these beams. Like, it's like you have to at least have some kind of grasp on how ridiculous the thing you're making is.
Of course, like you have to be able to laugh at it as much as you take it seriously.
Exactly. Which, you played the recent Kingdom Hearts?
Yes,
That's
I did.
something I actually, like, there are things I loved about the game, and there are things I didn't love, but one of the things I absolutely loved was how the game was self-aware of how ridiculous its plot had become over the 10-game span, I guess you would say.
They also, like, make a lot of fun at themselves.
Yes.
Like, in the very beginning of the game, it's like they send you off to a place to go do something, and then it's like, Kingdom Hearts 2.9. And it was like,
that was amazing.
It was like, okay, they get it.
They
like,
trolled me so hard.
And, like, they just make so many jokes. There's one point where Axel, who's a character...
I know what
basically,
you're getting at.
they're basically, like, I don't want to spoil, but they're giving, like, him basically the plot of what's been going on, and he's like, wait, there's more? There's more people? This is going on? Like, what is this?
Where do I play into all of this? I feel like I'm just kind of randomly here. I also loved, not to spoil anything, but towards the end, when he's having the face-off with who I won't mention, but he goes like, man, do you even know who I am? I got plenty of people rooting for me. I'm a fan favorite, you might say. It's shit like that I enjoy.
Yeah.
Because the whole point is, like, it takes you back to your childhood, which is what the purpose of the game was in the first and the third flagship installment. And I don't know. A lot of people didn't like that. It's one of the things I actually adored about this entry.
Yeah.
Because the dialogue's always been ridiculous throughout the series. I felt like the dialogue knew it was ridiculous this time, and that made it infinitely less ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like, I feel like they kind of stayed true to what they always were.
Yeah.
Maybe it was because of the long wait of the game.
Well,
A lot of
everyone has
people-
this misconception that this game had been worked on for 13 years.
It was formally announced in 2013,
Yeah,
I believe.
and
Yeah.
the first year and a half got canned.
Okay.
So, like,
Yeah.
mid-2015, they're like, can it start
Yeah.
over? So they've been working on this game since mid-2015.
Of course.
But everyone had this idea of 13 years for a 40-hour game?
Because I think a lot of people played 1 and 2, and then...
Didn't
right
play the
after
others.
3, yeah.
So it's like, what is all this stuff?
I have a very weird history with Kingdom Hearts, because I got a PS2 late in the game. And I was playing through the first one. I did maybe 3 or 4 worlds, and my data got corrupted. And as a kid, that's the most demoralizing
It's
thing.
devastating.
I
Yeah.
was like, I don't want to go back to this. I don't want to do that all again. That's 9 hours of my life.
Exactly.
And I put it on the shelf. I never touched Kingdom Hearts again until maybe 2 years ago. My roommate Brian, who's the Duck on Bulldog Gaming, he bought the remasters. How they have
They're 2.0, the final mix and all that, yeah.
So I kind of started making my way through those, and I played 1. I played 2 last summer, and I kind of watched videos on the side games.
The cutscenes.
Yeah,
Just to get a
'cause I was-
grasp of the
I was
story.
speeding up. So I have my own weird history with it, but even only playing 1 and 2, maybe because it was so fresh in my mind, and 3 was a smooth transition.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people maybe didn't touch these games in 15 years.
Correct. So
And-
they kind of forgot what they were.
Yeah.
Oh, why aren't the Disney worlds moving the plot along? It's like, well, they've never moved the plot
Yeah,
along.
it's never been super consequential to the story.
And I actually felt like they actually moved the plot along more in this game during the Disney Worlds than previous ones. Like with the organization members showing up to basically allude to you what was going to happen in the game. Like, we're not going to spoil anything. I think it's a little too early, but you know how the game ends and you know
Yeah.
what happens to character X.
Yes.
They alluded to that, so many times, and you just wanted to deny it because you wanted the ending you'd imagined. But the game was spending the Disney worlds basically telling us how it was going to end.
Of course. And I think at one point, that was another thing they were self-aware about, was I think in one of the worlds, like, an organization member shows up, and Sora kind of says something along the lines of, "Oh, are you just here to tell me how stupid I am and then disappear again?" And it was like, yeah, that's pretty much what's just happening. That's always what happens in these worlds.
And I'm curious, and it's one of the reasons why I want to learn Japanese at some point in my life, because I'm curious what the translation is like. Because for all we know, there could be something else entirely going on that we've missed just from a poor translation.
Yeah.
You know?
Something that got lost along the way.
Exactly. So I've always been curious to kind of play those games in their native languages. But what do you think is next for Kingdom Hearts? I guess we could do our best not to spoil anything. It's going to be hard. But where do you see the series going from here?
What I kind of took from this whole game completely and what it looks like moving forward is that they're trying to wrap up the convolution of the game, and that they want to go into something where from now on you can pick up and play it.
Yeah.
This game felt a little like Disney kind of had its hands in it a little bit more.
Very
like
deep.
We want this game to be able to reach that hardcore audience, but we also want it to be for the casual player. They wanted it to be that if you like Frozen or Monsters Inc. or Toy Story, you could pick up this game, jump into those worlds, have your fun, and then when they start throwing plot at you for 10 hours, you could be like, all right, I don't know what's going on about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's too much for me.
Fair enough.
So I also felt like, did you notice that it felt like the Pixar worlds, like they kind of gave Square more creative freedom to do what they wanted with the characters, where Disney was more close to their chest with like the stories of
felt to me, honestly, it felt to me like, because this is, I have a whole theory that I'd love to get into. Yeah. Not here because we can't do it without spoiling everything. But I found it very peculiar that 2 weeks after Kingdom Hearts 3 dropped, we got the Frozen 2 trailer. And when you talk about Disney having a deep hand in this game, I think we're talking about the fact we had to rewatch all of Let It Go during the Frozen world, which is not something Kingdom Hearts has ever done.
No.
So that's Disney throwing their dick on the table like, oh, you want Pixar worlds? We're going to use the Frozen world as an advertisement.
We're going to make sure everybody watches this entire 3-minute song. It's going to be in your head for 2 more weeks, and then we're going to drop the trailer on you.
You know what I've done to kind of shake it out of my head? I've gone and watched the Japanese version of Let It Go.
Okay.
Which has been more fun.
Yeah.
And, you know,
I like, there's a band called Betraying the Martyrs, and they have like a metal cover of it.
Oh, wow.
And it's so good.
Must be pretty epic.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
But I think where we're moving towards is, I think Disney's, because most of this is Disney property. They share, I think both Square and Disney actually share property over the original characters. But I think what we're moving towards is we're going to start seeing a split between Disney worlds and Square worlds. I think Square desperately wants to bring in, like, they don't want to just connect Disney worlds, they want to connect Square worlds too. And I think, without spoiling anything, I feel like that's a lot of what those final cut scenes were trying to allude towards.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. But it's interesting too because a lot of people, there was a lot of disappointment in kind of the lack of Final Fantasy characters in this game.
Yes, and I think that had a lot to do with Disney.
Yeah, like they were like, get your properties out.
Yeah, exactly. I also think it had to do with what you're talking about, where they're trying to clean up the convolution. Because, it's Aerith, Yuffie, Cloud, Squall, Sephiroth, and Sid. I might be forgetting another one, but they were all the Final Fantasy characters in the flagship titles 1 and 2. And here's the thing. At the end of Kingdom Hearts 2, their arc's all wrapped up. They played their part. They restored Hollow Bastion to Radiant Garden. They played their part. It was wrapped up. I think Square, or Tetsuya Nomura to be more specific, didn't want to rope them back in to further complicate things. It's like they had their story, that's done. I think he's moving towards the more modern Final Fantasy characters, and those are the ones who are going to be included in the later games.
That makes sense.
Did you ever play Final Fantasy 15?
I have not. I've never been a big Final Fantasy guy. I just never really played them.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I have seen some of the gameplay. Brian played a bit of it, and I kind of hung out for that.
So you have a general idea.
Yeah.
Without spoiling anything, that character that we saw, Yozora, who you see in the Toy Box world, and then there's the cutscene. He was the original design for the main character in Final Fantasy 15, and both of these were headed by Tetsuya Nomura. So the guy who's directing Kingdom Hearts and the guy who's directing Final Fantasy are actually the same guy. What he wanted to do was he actually had this universe set up to be for Versus 13, Final Fantasy Versus 13.
Okay.
But what happened is Square basically trashed that. It was his dream project. Square basically trashed it, redesigned everything he created, made it into Final Fantasy 15, and said, hey, Nomura, we need you to direct this. And apparently, word is he was very upset, and he felt like that his dream project was just canned, and they rewrote everything in their own image. So what he's doing is I think he's tying his dream project into Kingdom Hearts, because he has a lot of control over the Kingdom Hearts series.
Okay.
So that's why when all that happened, I was like, all these characters look insanely familiar.
Yeah.
And that's what he's doing. He's taking Versus 13, and I think he's tying it into the Kingdom Hearts world.
Oh, well, we'll have to wait 20 more years to find out if that's actually what's happening.
I would hope so, right? But
Yeah.
I think apparently the rumor is we're going to get a spin-off game on the Switch in the next 2 years that kind of explains the epilogue.
Okay.
That can bring us to something new. But
something me and Brian were talking about on one of the past shows was, at this point, we kind of hope that they stray away from these console exclusives.
Yeah.
And at this point, because it's like, with 3, they put it on Xbox when none of the previous games had been on Xbox.
Right.
Like, at this point, they should put out games that are multi-platform. That way you don't have to make remasters of, the mobile exclusive or the PSP exclusive and down the line for people to catch up that miss these games. Put them out on all platforms, make them accessible so everybody plays them, everyone's caught up on your story. That adds to the convolution.
I think I 100% agree, and I think what happened is Square, at least back in the early 2000s, had a deal with Sony where pretty much all the Final Fantasies, and all the Kingdom Hearts games were only to come out on Sony exclusives. After, I think when Final Fantasy 13 dropped on the Xbox. So since circa 2008, I think Square has been releasing to both PlayStation and Xbox.
Okay.
The problem with the Switch is anytime you release something for the Switch, you're giving the developers a whole new chunk of work to do because they have to calibrate it for when the screen is handheld and on console. So notoriously, because Nintendo wants to do things different, be it with the Wii or the Wii U or the Nintendo Switch, they lose a lot of third-party support because it costs the I don't want to call them the manufacturer, the developers more money to add more work time into developing it for a Nintendo console.
Of course. I do think the Switch is a little more
Definitely.
accessible. We've definitely this is the most third-party help Nintendo's had in years.
Since GameCube.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw the Direct they had the previous week.
The most recent one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah. I mean, it's so cool that we're getting games like Hellblade and Dead by Daylight on Switch, but when they show them in the trailers, they don't look that good compared to it's cool that you're giving this to me, but
the graphic capability is so much lower than the competitors.
It's I'm kind of at a crossroads because I'm not a giant Mortal Kombat player. I'll play it for the story, I'll play the ladders, and I'm not going online or anything. So there's a part of me that's considered getting it on Switch, just because it's kind of that on the go, play some Mortal Kombat, do what I want to do. But I know that I'm not going to get the visual pleasure that I would get on PS4 of playing Mortal Kombat. You know what I mean?
Which, considering all the critical finishes in Mortal Kombat, that's kind of the draw of the whole thing.
Exactly.
Is to see it play out like that.
So visually pleasing to see those games look so good. I think NetherRealm does fighters unlike anybody else.
See, I'm tricky with fighters. It's hard for me to really get, and I love fighters, don't get me wrong, but it's hard for me to really get into just a 2D fighter like this. Yeah. I like Smash because it's multi-leveled. There are platforms and things like that.
Even Jump Force is a 3D fighter.
An 8-way run. Yeah, those are typically my favorite. The Soul Caliburs and the Tekkens, where you have 3 dimensions to move between, are typically my favorite fighters. I do struggle a little bit getting into Injustice or getting into Mortal Kombat because it's very flat.
Absolutely. I think what really Injustice 2, I don't know how much you played of it.
I didn't play a lot of Injustice 2.
Yeah.
I watched a lot of it on Twitch.
It feels like they found the way to cater to that single-player fighting audience in the way that they have that gear system.
Yep.
Because it kind of works like most kind of looter shooters where you have your rarity of gear and your different things. But just the way you can customize your characters, my Superman could look so different from someone else's Superman.
True.
And they would do these limited edition ladders I remember there was the Wonder Woman movie was coming out, and it was oh, you have this week to do this challenge, and you can get the Wonder Woman movie gear.
And you get that
nobody else will have. Yeah.
Cool.
So
cool.
That kept me as a single player fan so happy. Whereas something like Mortal Kombat 10, I was done with in 2 weeks. It's like, all right,
there's nothing to really add on to the game.
Yeah, I don't really have much to do here. And I think that system is something like NetherRealm continues to innovate on fighting games that other companies really need to get behind.
Well, I was going to ask, because one of the things that I think fighter games struggle with, and I'm going to leave Smash out of this because I'm not going to complain about a game that threw 74 different fighters at me, all relatively balanced.
Everyone's here.
Exactly. But I feel like every fighting game, at least in the last 3 years, every time it on release date is just an incomplete game.
Yeah. Well,
it's unbalanced, it's unpatched.
It's just something wrong with like the gaming industry. Like, most games nowadays are, because I know they can patch.
I just think their deadlines are too tight. Yeah. That's what I think. Because, like, here's the thing. Maybe Kingdom Hearts 3 could have used another month in development.
Yeah.
But that would have fucked up Disney rolling out Frozen 2.
Also, can you imagine if they said they needed another month after, like,
flipped.
how long we've waited?
Well,
they couldn't possibly do it.
Well, I'll always abide by Shigeru Miyamoto's quote. Better to take forever to release a good, complete game than to rush out a bad, incomplete game. Mm-hmm. A bad, incomplete game is just bad forever.
And it's something where, like, it's something I always loved about Nintendo, was they would always take their time and make these games. Where, but it seems like recently they're kind of going into that model. Like in Smash, I've seen so many videos of so many game-breaking glitches. Mm-hmm. Where, like, if there was like a... Do you remember the assist trophy glitch? Did you see that one when the game first dropped?
With Isabelle, right? She could just keep...
If there was like two Isabelles and they both did the fishing rod on like an assist trophy, it would make like 80 of the same assist. There'd be like 90 Monster Hunter dragons flying around the map and the game would like crash. And it was like, this was never Nintendo. They never did this.
They usually had that patch.
Yeah. So I think, though, it's also a matter of the Switch and them trying to make sure they have games out, maybe rushing a few games out to keep having
keep it
content.
moving. Yeah. Keep it going. But I have to say, at least with like the two big flagship single-player titles on the Switch right now, and you can tell me if you disagree, are Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey.
Yeah, I would say so.
For the most part.
I'd maybe interchange Mario Odyssey with Smash these days, but...
Fair. I would try to say like single-player adventure game.
Okay,
I'm saying Smash is much more of a multiplayer. But I thought the way they rolled out DLC for those games was perfect. They on release, you had the full-fledged adventure. It was great. And then once you completed that, every DLC after that was post-game content. It wasn't, oh, hey, we're giving you something new to play with in that previous adventure. It's like, no, we're going to tack on things to that adventure, whether it's Luigi's Balloon World, or it's the Trial of the Sword, or anything like that. I'm much more partial to... I feel like that's what DLC is supposed to be for. I don't think DLC is supposed to be so... Like, I've got nothing but love for the Soul Calibur series.
Yeah.
But we're not going to see the full roster until the end of Season 2. Where it's like, you probably should have launched with that full roster, and the DLC could have been bonus characters or guest characters.
Of course, like the fan favorites.
Exactly.
Kind of like what Smash is doing, where it's like, hey, here's Joker from Persona.
Exactly.
And they said, like, this is setting the bar for what DLC will be. There's been non-stop rumors of Sora. It doesn't stop.
Well, do you think the card Luxord gave him is the invitation to Smash?
It's the invitation to Smash. But, like, the big debate has been, if that happens, like, will... he have like Mickey, like does Donald and Goofy? Like, will Disney properties be there?
Probably.
We don't know.
Probably not. Probably not.
I think one of the most requested in Goku will not happen now that Jump Force.
Goku won't happen.
Yeah. Well, also too, they always said that like they want video, like your character has to primarily be a video game character,
right?
To be
as opposed to like an anime character video game set.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think? Who do you think is after Joker? Which personally, I'm so hyped for Joker. Future Joker main. I don't care. I'll make it work. But who do you think? Who are some of the people you think we're going to see after?
I have speculation. I think after this past direct, where I think it was like Dragon Quest that they went on about for like 5 or 10 minutes. Yeah. I think it's going to be a Dragon Quest character. I think they're kind of prepping that audience with how long that presentation felt in the direct to kind of be like, hey, here's the next Smash character. It's you know what I mean? I'm still holding out hope for Banjo. I
want Banjo hard.
Dude,
I want Banjo hard, man.
Were you aware of the Grinch leak?
Yes.
Oh man.
Yeah, I was full aware of the Grinch leak.
That broke my heart in a way nothing ever has before. So, the list of characters we would have gotten from that Grinch leak that dropped would have been Shadow the Hedgehog, Banjo-Kazooie, Isaac from Golden Sun, Ken from Street Fighter, which we did get.
We did get Ken.
Mach Rider, Gino from Super Mario RPG, and the Chorus Kids. Now, I don't think... There's always been fantastic, like, fake Smash leaks. If you remember the Rayman from Wii U
Yes,
Smash.
yes.
My God.
They had me on that. I thought that was a given.
Like, I'm never believing any Smash League again.
Well, they got me with the Grinch. I literally thought the
Yeah.
Grinch was going to be in.
Because for those that aren't aware of like what the Grinch League is, this guy, he worked for an ad agency, and I forgot what the name of the agency was, but he was like, he literally just posted like on Snapchat, and it was like, fuck you, Nintendo, and it was like an entire, like, they have like the map, the picture of like all the characters, and it was like a perfectly made fake with all the characters that we said in there, and behind it was a poster for that Grinch movie that came out, which is why everybody believed it. Mm-hmm. It was like the Pepe Sylvia meme from It's Always Sunny, where it looks like the 40 posters on the wall. It was insane. Everybody was believing this. Everybody was trying to prove it wrong, trying to prove it right. And then that Smash Direct came, and Incineroar was showing it. We go, it was fake.
It was fake.
It was all fake. We all bought in, and it was not real.
That's the thing, is they've done I don't know if you'd say this was a good job, but it's like half the new characters we've gotten, nobody even rumored. Nobody really saw Incineroar coming. Piranha Plant, no one saw that shit coming. Nobody saw Joker coming.
No, that was insane.
Which is funny because that's kind of the arc of his character.
Yeah.
But of the ones we mentioned that were supposed to be part of the Grinch League, if you had to pick two, who would you pick?
If I had to pick like who I would want to see out of it?
Yeah, of the Grinch League DLC.
Number one is Banjo, absolutely. I'm going to take Shadow and Ken out of it because I feel like those scream like Echo characters to me.
True.
Like Echo Fighters. I think we still might get Shadow. I would probably say Geno from Super Mario RPG. It would have been cool. Well, they made him like a spirit.
Yeah.
They did my boy so dirty. But
Well, he was rumored all the way back to Wii U Smash, Geno.
yeah. Which is weird. It's like, I don't know why everybody, like, out of everyone, like, he's the one everybody's always like, he's coming.
I think the troll is they're going to include as many Mario characters as they can before they let Waluigi in.
Oh, that too.
Which I think that's just... Waluigi is how they sell the next Smash game.
You think so?
100%.
Yeah.
You break the internet if you announce new Smash with Waluigi.
That's very true.
Then you break the internet.
Do you believe in the theory that if a character is an assist trophy, they can't be DLC? Like, do you think it would be impossible for Waluigi to become DLC and they take his assist trophy out?
So, you mean as in for this installment?
Yeah, like if
it's
they wanted to do it.
It's not impossible. You could patch that.
Because another rumored fighter was always Skull Kid from Majora's Mask.
I was really hoping for that.
Another assist trophy.
Sick.
Yeah.
I don't buy into that. They could patch it, but what I will say is, like, if they are already an assist trophy, the odds of them being DLC is greatly decreased.
Absolutely. I agree with that, but I don't think it's impossible.
Definitely not. I think Nintendo makes a lot of money. Hold on. Excuse me.
Nice.
Thank you. I think Nintendo makes a lot of money with the characters they let into DLC, because essentially what the third-party companies are getting is free advertisement.
Yeah.
Like, they dropped Joker from Persona, and now a bunch of Persona 5 spin-off games are coming to the Switch.
Oh, yeah. I've also heard, like, there's a million React videos to that trailer, and there's so many Persona fans that are like, alright, I'm buying Smash now. Like,
Exactly.
I never cared about this game, but now I'm buying it. Yeah.
Well, what it did for me was I wasn't sure if I was going to get the season pass or if I was... Like, if I was going to get the season pass or if I was going to, like, cherry pick which ones I paid for and downloaded.
Yeah.
But once they showed Joker, I was like, oh, yeah, season pass.
Yeah. That's
Easy decision. Easy decision.
I think I bought it with the game because I was like, I'm going to buy all these fighters. Like, I did it on Wii U. I know I'm going to do it. What's also interesting, looking forward to DLC, is Smash has never had a third-party Western character before. They've always had... Sakurai has always picked the DLC himself. It's always been mostly Japanese properties, Japanese companies, because, another big rumored character was Crash. But that would be Naughty Dog. That was another reason with Banjo, where everyone's like, well, who knows, because it's always kind of been, Japanese properties. So...
I want Crash.
Yeah.
I'd love Crash and Spyro, both for Smash.
I mean, they both... I still think that Spyro trilogy is coming to Switch. But we have the Crash Bandicoot trilogy on there. Like, everyone's like, come on, put them in the game.
Crash Team Racing is coming too.
Yeah,
in the summer, which I cannot wait for that.
That is going to be insane.
I cannot wait for CTR.
I can't believe we live in a world where, like, these Crash games are being remade. Like,
and they look beautiful.
Yeah.
They look fucking beautiful.
This age of, like, remastered games is really something.
You know what's so funny? It's funny how remakes seem to work out so much better in the gaming community than the cinema community.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know why? Because I think there's this... It's like the nostalgia works differently, where when we play these remastered old games, it feels like how we remembered them.
Yeah.
You know what I
mean?
mean?
Because they bring everything up to speed.
Yeah, like when you play Crash, you're like, in your head, you're like, this is how I saw it when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. And then you look back on the game you played and you're like, oh, this does not look good at all.
Boxy, it's controls are a little more floaty.
So I think in that sense with cinema where it's like, you're ruining what I love.
Yeah, because typically movies tend to age better. That's the thing. Movies age better than games.
Of course.
That's the thing.
And I think games are more trying to future-proof themselves in how a lot of these games go for like this cartoony art style, where you have stuff like Overwatch and Fortnite, where like those games will look good in 15, 20 years. Sure. You know what I mean? Whereas like you look back on maybe like Tomb Raider on PS2 and it's like, yikes, this doesn't really hold up. You know what I mean?
I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Because you are right. Because like if you go back to Mario Sunshine,
it looks better.
It looks beautiful, but it doesn't look as good as the Resident Evils from GameCube.
It looks better than like Madden 97.
Wow. Oh my god, no, that kind of blew my mind. I guess that would be the practicality to go in with a more toon-style game.
Yeah, it's like your game will look good in 15 years.
Yeah, true, Wind Waker looks better than Ocarina now.
Granted, I think like, even the realistic games nowadays will look great.
Yeah.
Like we're getting to the point visually where it's like how much more can our eyes process in these games
before they're indistinguishable from reality.
Like once we hit like 60 to 80 frames per second with like 1080p, it's like how much more before my eyes just can't tell the difference.
That's where Steam is at now, right?
Yeah.
Like Steam can process 60 frames per second at 1080p.
I could play Rocket League at like 100 frames per second. It's like, can my mind even process like the difference in this? Like,
well, it's like they're saying it's like the TVs are starting to look better than reality.
Yeah.
You know, like, we'd be foolish to think games are gonna be any different.
Of course.
I'm just trying to think of. Have you played the new Resident Evil 2?
I have not, actually. I haven't made my way to it yet. I think I'm waiting for a little bit of a price drop and gonna jump into that.
Probably. I'm the same way.
I didn't really get into Resident Evil as a kid until 4.
I loved 4 on the GameCube.
If they remade 4, that's gonna be my jam.
Yeah. And you'd have to think they're going to eventually. Mm-hmm. It's just that 4 actually, it was on the GameCube. It still looks pretty good.
That's where I played it on as a kid. Yeah, it was the GameCube. 4
still does look pretty good.
Oh, of course.
I'm a big Resident Evil fan. I don't know. Let me trash that. I'm not a big Resident Evil fan. I'm a fan of Resident Evil.
Yeah.
I've played several games, but I'm with you. I think I'm going to wait a little bit before I hit Resident Evil 2.
I think what this did for a lot of people is I think Resident Evil kind of strayed from its roots a little recently. What was the last one? 7?
I don't know. The last one I played was 5. The one in Africa, and I didn't really think it was that good.
Yeah, the last one was either 7 or 8, and it was that one with like the family and like the house. It was in VR too.
I fell off.
It did well. Like it was a good game, but I think Resident Evil 2, like this remaster, really took the game back to its roots, and that's what everybody wanted. They kind of went back to the pure zombie, kill zombies thing. Instead of what they were straying from. So hopefully they keep this up. Like this is what
you would
people
think
want.
so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so funny because I feel like a lot of games suffer from that because. If you're a developer, you want your game to get better. You want whatever you're creating to move with the times. But there are series like Resident Evil, and I'll bring in Sonic the Hedgehog, that should just go back to what they're good at. Mm-hmm. Stop trying to make Sonic playable as a fucking wolf or with a sword, and just go back to what Sonic was good at.
Go back to Sonic Mania. That was a
Sonic
bop.
Mania was so fucking good.
That game was a bop.
And it was fan-made.
Yeah. And it had, original levels. And it was
music.
Good. Yeah, it was
and
crazy
music.
good.
There's a lot of original content in there.
Yeah. They put that out, and then they put out Sonic Forces, and everybody was like, you could really tell the difference here.
Did you play Sonic Forces?
I did not. Brian did, and he was kind of like, yeah, don't play this.
All I had to see was a custom avatar with, hipster glasses on to be like, nope.
They leaned fully into, their DeviantArt fan side.
Yeah, I kind of saw that.
I don't know if you've ever looked at the Sonic Twitter. They are completely self-aware. They post all, the Sonic memes.
Because when I was randomly at work, I usually listen to a podcast while I'm at work, but on my recommended came, the title was this is the most self-aware show I've ever seen. And the thumbnail had Sonic the Hedgehog. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
There's this new Sonic cartoon.
Oh, is this that clip with Knuckles, where he has is that the one I'm thinking of?
There's so many clips.
Yeah.
There's so many clips where Knuckles gets totally woke on feminism.
Yeah.
In one clip.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck is this?
And there's another one where Sonic gets captured by this crazy Sonic fan.
Okay.
Who can't help but dispel all their fan theories on him, and they just keep going. It's just, yeah. So Sega's aware of what they've done to their baby.
Oh yeah.
I hope they can bring him back from the dead because I would love. Because some people say 3D Sonic didn't work. I have to disagree just on the basis of Sonic Adventure 2.
Yeah, I was going to say that game. That's like the definition.
That's the best Sonic game.
Yeah.
And I love Sonic CD, and I love Sonic 3, and all the classic side-scrollers, but like Sonic Adventure 2 was fucking excellent.
Yeah, that was like everybody played that game.
And the story was actually pretty good, too.
Yeah, it was dope.
Yeah.
I love, what's that one song? It's like the Knuckles level. It's like Pumpkin
Hill.
Pumpkin Hill, dude. That's a...
I ain't gonna let it get to me. I'm just gonna trip down Pumpkin Hill. Yeah, that was.
It's such good music.
It's good. It's cheesy, but it's good.
Yeah.
You know?
Escape from the City. Like, all the jams are in that game, dude.
All the jams.
Yeah.
All the jams. Fucking, I love that song Live and Learn they play at the end, like the hard metal song.
Oh, of course, dude.
Boss. Yeah. No, honestly, that's one thing video games have always been great with is their music.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I know more video game composers than I do movie composers.
Right? Like, isn't that weird?
It is a little weird. But, like, it's such a better... I feel like it's a better medium for that content, because, like, you could be a movie composer, right? And the pieces you create are really only going to be used in the span of 2 hours.
Of course.
But, say you created the score for Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. That's going to span for 100 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So you have more room to create more music, or for the music to lay a better effect on you.
I also think like video games are more like experienced than movies, where it's like it's more like immersive.
Yep.
So I feel like when you're in that world and like those those songs hit you, and like
because you're a part of it.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
That's true. I'm a bit of a video game elitist when compared to like Netflix and chill.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I don't love Netflix and chill. Believe me, I do.
Hey.
But it's like if you take a minute to look at someone who's watching TV and compare it to someone who's playing a video game. If you look at someone who's watching TV, they're just just dead face, deadpan, like they barely look alive. They almost look like they're just like
like the brain, the lights are off.
Exactly,
you're zoned in
because it's all input. There's no output.
Of course.
But someone who's like playing a game, you'll see them. They're like biting their bottom lip. They're making those shit. Like, I freak the fuck out when I play games.
Yeah, it's because it's more interactive. You're controlling what's happening.
Exactly, you're in it. Yeah. You're in it, and like I'm not trying to like shit on movies or TV.
No, what you're into, you're into. Like,
exactly, and it's just like. Video games were interactive and immersive when we were kids, but like where they are now is just ridiculous.
Oh, forget about it.
How much longer? Where do you see VR? Video game VR. Let's jump.
Let's take a jump because it's interesting because I will say like the rumors are trickling into new consoles.
Yes.
I would say probably mid to late 2020, new PS5, Xbox 2, but they're on the way. What's interesting is what then happens to VR. VR kind of 2-3 years ago kind of came out. I don't know if you've played VR, if you have it.
Yeah, the headset.
Yeah, I have PSVR and I love it. There's so many games on there and like it really, you don't get it until you do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some of the best, I've played Beat Saber. I don't know if that one.
Never played Beat Saber.
Beat Saber, have you seen it?
No.
It's, okay, picture like any rhythm game, like, DDR, Atari, or whatever. You're playing these songs, but all they are blocks coming at you, and you have 2 lightsabers. You have a red lightsaber and a blue one. So it's like you're going like this to the songs, and like you're just smashing blocks.
Oh, shit.
Okay. It is really cool.
Because
you're getting
cool.
like, it's almost like you're drumming like into
Beat
these songs.
Saber.
Yeah.
Got it.
Actually, Chris Perkowski, who you had on the show, he got a VR, I think, in like Christmas. I was like, dude, you got to get Beat Saber. Like, that's the game. Like, you have to.
Does he have a PSVR?
Yeah. He's
got
sweet.
PSVR. Awesome.
So I was like, dude, you got to get Beat Saber. Like, that's the jam. But what I think is going to happen is like, I think VR is at a point where it's weird. It's like Sony will say that they sold more than they expected to. They put it on this pedestal where at E3 they always have their VR announcements. They always hit on like, make sure there's VR titles. But it seems like you don't hear about it besides like the audience that plays VR. Like anyone that plays VR will swear by it.
I don't hear about it often, but I agree 100% with what you're saying. Anyone I've talked to about it is like, oh yeah, it's fucking awesome.
I think they realize that it's going to be a more gradual climb than they initially expected.
Yeah.
They thought it was going to be like this immediate takeoff.
Sprout up, yeah.
But I do respect the fact that they didn't give up on it after a year or two. I think what's going to happen is that the new consoles are going to be compatible with the VR you have now. And then maybe a year or two into the new consoles, it's going to be like, oh, here's the new helmet. Let's like, either wireless or there's less wires because... Good God, did I have an anxiety attack when I took that VR helmet out of the box. I'm like, there's wires that go here, there's here. You got to plug like the HDMI from the console and then to the TV, and then it has like its own wall output. I was like, what is going, like, I wanted to cry, like, in my room. I was like, I can't do this. But then once you get it set up, and, like, it's great. It's just, like, you know, they need to kind of tidy that up a bit.
Well, I guess we're in a place right now where VR means you're jacked in eyes, ears, and hands.
Oh, yeah.
And I definitely agree that come the PlayStation 5 and Xbox 2, I guess.
Yeah, as far as we know.
We'll see a more welcomed embrace of that technology. Like, I already know, just to go back for a second, Kingdom Hearts has a VR project they're working on right now.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's kind of getting into it. And, of course, they have the advantage of Disney having the up-to-date technology.
What I would like to see is, because, like, games look beautiful in it.
Yeah.
There's apps that are like YouTube has a VR section, but the output isn't so great. Like, it's, like, maybe, like, 360p or, like, like something like that. Mm-hmm. So, like, you're like, this looks kind of weird. It doesn't look that good. I would love to see that kind of up-resed. I think it might be on a Pro. I don't have a Pro. I think it's a little more up-res on PS Pro, but with the new consoles, like, you gotta up those specs for VR. Like, you gotta help me out here.
So what do you think we see first? Do you think we see full dive VR, whereas, like, your whole body and whole consciousness is in the game? Or do you think we see AR, augmented reality, come to a fuller fruition where, say, instead of Nintendo selling you a Pokemon game cartridge, they sell you a pair of glasses that you put on, and now the world around you is compatible with the Pokemon world? What do you think we see first?
I've always said since VR launched, I think VR is a stepping stone for AR. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you remember, it was maybe 4 years ago, Xbox showed off its HoloLens.
Yes.
Which was
the Microsoft
AR.
HoloLens.
When they're playing Minecraft on a table. Like, it was insane. It was like, and sure enough, we haven't seen that. Like, it was not ready for public viewing. But I think AR is the way of the future. I think that's going to be where games go, where you put on the glasses and your house turns into Resident Evil.
Yep.
And, you know, you're walking around like that. And
I almost think it's going to go a step further, where it's like, you come into my apartment, and it's like, why would I buy any of this shit, right? When you could just come in here, and if you and I wanted to watch TV, we'd put on the Nick Landi apartment AR goggles, and now, instead of me having this TV right there, the TV's now on the wall because we're wearing the goggles.
That, to me, becomes like this dystopian Black Mirror. We're both sitting in a blank room, staring at a wall. Like, somebody walks in and we're both just like staring at a wall.
Are you all right?
What's wrong with you guys? That's like a little too scary for me.
But I feel like that's where it's going, because
I agree.
If I could spend $300 to have like 4 or 5 AR goggles for my apartment, why would I spend $500 to have this television?
Of course, when you can have that and have TV anywhere.
Exactly, exactly. And who's to say? Maybe there is something more practical than that. Maybe the wall becomes the TV in the future. I don't know. The future's crazy.
We don't know where we're headed.
We don't know. We have no idea where we're headed. We barely know where we are.
Imagine you would have seen like an iPhone when you were like 5 years old. Can you imagine? Like, you never know where the world's heading. It's
so crazy. I almost can't remember a world without my iPhone.
Right? Like, isn't that bizarre?
It's so weird because it's really new.
Yeah.
Like, it was, I think I got my first smartphone when I was in like my junior year of college. Mm-hmm. But for some reason, all those flip phones and like keyboard phones are like gone from memory.
Yeah.
I almost wonder how I even lived like that.
Like, it's, I remember a world where everybody didn't carry phone chargers with them everywhere. And
that too.
Your phone was actually like mobile.
Mobile, and it lasted for a while.
I think what's like battery consumption is just not grown at the rate of the technology. And
no. Well, the problem is the computers are getting stronger, and with stronger computing power means it's going to drain your battery quicker.
Of course, yeah.
So that's kind of what we're caught in the middle of right now.
Yeah, the world's heading in a weird place.
It's definitely heading in a weird place. It's because we're so It's so funny. It's like all the media we're taking in. It's like we're so self-aware that we realize how absurd all of this is.
But we still don't care. We still do it.
Exactly. And while we can all grasp what a miracle our society is, it's hard not to see the blaring things that need to be fixed.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like this constant duality where you're caught between everything that makes sense, everything that doesn't make sense, and what you understand and don't understand.
Yeah, and I think that's why, like, even like I said, something like Black Mirror. I feel like that's a reason everybody kind of gravitates towards that, is because we relate to it. We feel
all
like
have
that's
those
the
thoughts.
way. Yeah, of course. About like, is this where the world's going? Like what really got me was that one episode where like everybody gets rated. Like me and you were talking, and then like on your phone, like I was like, oh, you were being a dick to me. I give you a 2. and then that
Oh,
brings
yeah,
down
yeah.
your public rating.
Mhm. Well, China's doing that right now with
like,
Google.
that's absolutely coming, and it's going to be horrifying.
Well, I don't think... Maybe I'm being an optimist, but I don't think that could fly here. But it's
not right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A lot would have to go wrong for it to fly here.
Yeah.
But it is flying over there in China.
Yeah.
They're working on a rating system, which is funny. Black Mirror did an episode of it, but did you ever watch Community?
Not really.
Community actually did the exact same thing like 5 years prior, but they called them Meow Meow Beans. It's like, oh, I'm giving you 4 Meow Meow Beans because you're a little bit mean.
Yeah.
As opposed to perfectly nice.
You don't get 5.
Exactly. It's crazy because like social media kind of already does this.
Yeah.
It just doesn't have as much of implication as the rating system from that Black Mirror episode.
Yeah, I would say so.
Which is why it's kind of like we are on the slippery slope of give up an inch, they're going to take a yard.
We're kind of like, I feel like the algorithms are the first kind of step where it's like you're not really seeing everybody.
We're all getting boxed in. Dude.
Yeah.
That's the problem. That's why like so many people's perception shattered when Trump won the presidency.
Yeah.
Because those algorithms kept him in this box that just kept saying to them, don't worry, he'll never win.
Yeah.
He can't win.
Mm-hmm.
Clinton's up 8 points. He can't win. So we get trapped inside these algorithmic boxes that pretty much disengage us from actual reality.
Yeah, I agree.
You know?
You know, it's... We live in a weird...
We keep coming back to that, but
yeah,
yes.
I don't know. It's
I don't know.
Scary to think about.
I think it's crazy because like if you look at it from a numbers perspective,
mm-hmm.
the world is getting better in the sense that less people per capita are starving. There's less crime per capita, and this is global. Not that there isn't shit. Like there's slaves in China making the clothes we wear.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
not that there isn't shit we need to clean up, but there's less shit than there used to be.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is like, are we cleaning up at a fast enough pace?
Yeah.
That's like the scary question.
I forgot what the timetable is, but they're saying there's like X amount of years before like we can't really reverse everything with climate change or anything we're doing to the world. Like we're going to hit a point where it's like we can't really change anything. We got to kind of change our ways here.
It's so funny because like it's stuff like that where we get so caught up in like arguing the semantics of climate change, like whether or not it's human caused or whether or not it's natural for the planet.
Yeah.
When at the end of the day, like the real conversation is, hey, you know, the planet's changing.
Yeah. What are we gonna do?
What are we gonna do? Like, who cares right now? What if we disagree if it's humans or planet? It's like it's happening.
We had like a 70-degree day in like January. I'm
Yeah.
kind of worried about this.
Well, that's the other misconception is everyone thinks it's all about the planet getting warmer. So when we had those sub-zero days, everyone's like, oh, look, global warming can't be real. But no, the whole way it's supposed to work is that winters get harsher and summers get harsher.
We're heading towards an ice age.
Yeah, exactly. In the long game, that's essentially it. But speaking of the world getting crazy and things changing, I did want to ask you the famous acclaimed question on this podcast.
Uh-oh.
So, Andrew Parker, the acclaimed question, and I can unwrap it and explain it if you need me to, but are you Chip Gang?
I remember you talking about this. I don't remember what that entails.
An example of it is the Elon Musk Neuralink. The chip in the brain that lets you know when you have a tumor, that gives you a competitive advantage because like all of Google's in your brain now at your access.
Yeah.
Basically, it's a way to upgrade the human being. Are you down to upgrade the human being with a chip in your brain, or do you think we should cling to our biological shells?
Fuck it, man. I want to be cyborg.
You're going full cyborg?
Let's go. I mean, there's pros and cons of it. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's really, I mean, yeah, you would be able to do a lot more. Your body you'd be able to know when something was wrong with your body.
Exactly.
Whereas most days nowadays, we're kind of just like, I'm still going. I don't gotta go to the doctor.
Hey, I got out of bed. That's good enough.
Yeah. I got this random pain in my side. I'll be all right. I'm just gonna walk it off.
That's the scary thing, though, is like a lot of people they live like that, and there'll be a tumor growing in them for 6 months,
and they don't know,
and they have no idea,
no fucking clue.
You know, it's so crazy because it's like things like that always bring me back to that Ben Franklin quote of those who give up their freedom for security are doomed to have neither.
Yeah.
So it's like if I take the security of my body alerting me whenever I have something wrong with me, am I giving up the freedom of thought? Like, are my thoughts just in the database now like my Google searches are?
Of course.
You know?
And it's like, are we in a way being conditioned for that in the way that like, I feel like our like life today, we're so much kind of lazier mentally because I have a supercomputer in my pocket, that I can look up any information that I wanted to. Like, somebody was like, remember in the old days of, like, even the 90s when you could have an argument and just fake it with confidence? When you, even if you knew you were wrong, because who could prove you wrong? Who could look it up? Nobody could.
Truth. You're not, you know what? When we leave this cafe, we're going back to my place. I'm going to boot up the computer. Dial-up takes a little while.
Don't make a phone call and we're going to look it up. But it's like, nowadays, it's like, oh, you could just fact-check anything in the world.
Anything.
I could just know anything I need to know in 2 seconds flat. I don't need to, you know what I mean? So it's like, in a way, we're already being conditioned for this, where it's like, are we already kind of giving up some things that we used to have?
Definitely. Well, the Fourth Amendment's gone.
Yeah.
We no longer have our privacy.
No,
it's
not at
gone.
all. Yeah.
There's video archive footage of all of us masturbating through our webcam on the internet,
It's
whether
all
we
there.
like it or not.
Whether you put the little paper towel over there, whatever you do, it's all there.
You see my duct tape?
I actually didn't see that when I said it. It's great that you do have it there.
Well, yeah, I mean, because you never know. I mean, because
No,
you know what it
yeah.
is? It's like, I say things like this all the time. It's like, all it takes is for one asshole to have it out for you that knows how to hack that can ruin your life.
Oh, yeah, and you're done.
And you're finished. Because everything's on the internet. Your bank's on the internet. Your money is on the internet. Your whole life. Your photo albums are on the internet. Your content is on the internet.
I mean, like, how often do you hear someone that you know be like, oh, you know, someone stole my credit card info, got to get a new card.
All the time.
My whole stuff got,
all the time.
It happens all the time.
Well, that's why, like, when I go online, dude, like, for companies like Amazon and stuff, I only put my credit card on.
Yeah.
Because the bank can always give you your credit back.
Of course.
But, like, if someone taps your debit card,
done.
you don't get any of it back.
Yeah.
It's gone.
You done.
Which is another reason why I never keep more than like $100 in my debit, unless I'm on like vacation.
Yeah,
and I know I'm going to be swiping my way to paradise. Other than that, but like the chip gang question is hard.
It is. It really
it's
is.
fucking
because
hard.
It's something that I feel like in our lifetime we are gonna maybe have
We're
to
going to be
question.
faced with.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. Yeah,
I feel like we're in a constant battle between collectivism and individualism. You know, there's the idea of like, oh, we should all be connected and we should all like be the same. Which is kind of what social media already does.
yes,
But then there's the idea of like, no, I want to be an individual. I don't want Google or Tesla or Apple or Microsoft knowing what I'm thinking about.
of course.
You know?
Even though I think they already do based on the Facebook ads.
Yeah. I'm sure whatever we talked about in this conversation will be my Google ads.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like PlayStation VR.
You're like, here comes Smash DLC.
Exactly.
Like, all right.
Exactly. Because like, you know what it is? It's like your smartphone is always recording.
Yeah. It's like me and Brian were talking about we're heading down to Florida and we've been talking a lot about Disney and this and that. What do I get in my Instagram ads? It's like a clothing company based on like Disney World clothing. I was like, this is kind of weird. Like this just pops up now. Like
Exactly.
It's happening.
Well, companies like Disney have those resources.
Yeah.
Which is funny because, like, for everyone like that, where it's actually really well done target marketing.
Of course.
Like, I play in a slow pitch softball league. They advertise at me to sign up every single day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I already signed up. Stop doing this.
And the whole Facebook, like those fake ads for like those shirts. Have you gotten those?
Well, I don't go on Facebook anymore.
I get like these weird targeted ads where it'll be like a singer of a band photoshopped into a picture wearing like a Nightmare Before Christmas shirt. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, that's
like
weird.
what? I could probably look it up. I still have one. Like, and I've gotten it multiple times with like different musical artists wearing like different Disney themed clothing. I'm like, what in the world is
weird.
this?
That's a little weird.
Like that to me is like some weird target marketing.
Well, it's. I don't want to get too dystopian about it. You know?
Yeah.
But it's kind of hard not to.
How did we get here from like Resident Evil and Final
Dude,
into like
well, we started talking about VR and full dive VR versus
Yeah,
AR.
yeah.
Then from there we went Chip Gang. Because one of the cool things about Chip Gang is like the VR thing's in your brain now.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
snap and that's it. You're playing Resident Evil.
Yep, you're in Resident Evil.
No
yeah.
gear, no headset, nothing jacking into your spine. Like a snap and you're in Resident Evil. That could be a cool thing about Chip Gang.
Yeah.
That could be how they hook us. My roommate's of the school of thought of he's totally Chip Gang, but he's like, I'm not getting the iPhone 1. He's like, I'll get the iPhone 4 of Chip Gang.
No, I agree.
He's like,
I agree.
let's see how it works out for everybody else.
I don't want to
first.
be in like the beta test program where it
that's not what you
malfunctions
want.
and now I'm stuck in Resident Evil.
Yeah,
I
then
can't
you
get
don't
out of
wanna see
Resident Evil.
Have you seen Future Man on Hulu?
I saw the first season. I haven't seen season 2.
Season 2, they get into some stuff like that.
Yeah.
And Put it this way. Actually, no, I can't say it if you're going to watch it because that'll spoil it.
That is a super underrated show.
Very underrated.
I stumbled across it and I was like, why is no one watching this? Like, this show's great.
My buddy of mine who watches everything under the sun,
literally
everything, came to me. He's like, bro, you got to watch this. I'm like, you say that about every goddamn show.
He's like, no, but this one.
He's like, but this one. And I was like, yeah? I was like, this one or Game of Thrones? He was like, this one. Which a lot of people would be like, what?
Yeah.
But do you watch Game of Thrones?
I have to catch up. I saw up to season 4.
I haven't seen anything.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, and then you know what happened? I binged the first 4 seasons, caught up to being live, and I was like, nothing is happening week to week. I'm like, I need to binge watch it where I know.
I'm like that too. Week by week drives me nuts.
Yeah,
like I'm watching Dragon Ball Super the dub right now, and they flesh it out 1 week at a time. Mm-hmm. I just won't watch for like a month or two, and then I'll sit down for 2 or 3 hours and binge them all out. Because it's fun to get it in chunks like that, man. Because like, with Game of Thrones is different, I guess, because it's a 1 hour episode. Yeah. But like, if you're getting 20 minutes of a continual plot once a week, you forget shit.
Well, that's what happens with Game of Thrones is that there's so much going on. It's like, oh, these 2 are in this world, these 2 are over here in this kingdom, and then it's like you get like a 15-minute bit of each one, unless it's like a really heavy episode for them. And then they don't show them again for 3 weeks, and then it goes back. It's like, I forgot what these guys were doing. Like, when I binge watch it, it's like, it's continuous. Like, okay,
so that was just 2 hours ago.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Compared to, like, a month ago.
No, that's a good point. That's a good point. I think, do you watch Westworld?
No, I've been meaning to.
I'm trying to. Yeah. I'm not trying to miss the Westworld train. I missed the Game of Thrones train. I'm really not. Yeah. Sure. Because Nolan's brother is the lead writer of it.
Okay.
Yeah, Jonathan Nolan, who wrote all the Dark Knights and the Memento and Prestige. Jesus, I don't know where this gas is coming from. But there's just too much shit out there.
There is.
We're really in a golden age of content.
We really are. Like, I've even said in the past, like, I really feel like this past 12 months of even, like, video games alone, we've been, like, #blessed. Like,
seriously.
Like, God of War, Smash Brothers, Kingdom Hearts, Red Dead 2.
Resident Evil 2.
Even, like, Spider-Man.
That's what I'm playing next.
Have you played Detroit Become Human?
No.
That's got to be on your list.
I've seen it, though.
As like,
it came out a while ago, didn't it?
Yeah, it came out, like, May last year.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
But, like, as far as, like, being Chip Gang and, like, all this stuff, like, that's the game you got to play. It's a little heavy-handed in its metaphors, but that's a really good game. That's one you should stream. I think so. That'd be a good stream game.
I can fuck with that.
Yeah.
But it's like, some people question, because like we have this whole conversation of automation coming and robots taking jobs. People are like, well, what jobs are people going to work? And I try to see like, okay, what's growing then? And what's growing is entertainment and content. Mm-hmm. So I almost feel like we might be moving towards an economy where, while the robots, I don't want to call them robots because that's actually a direct translation of slave.
Yeah.
So we're not going to do that.
While the androids.
When the androids and the machines are doing all the labor, it's almost like we'd have to rely on each other to entertain one another.
Yeah.
Like it's jobs like that require human creativity, where that's where opportunities are going to open up.
Yeah, it's good. That's why you see a lot of people these days our age on Twitch, doing Patreons, all this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Because it's like that's almost like something we can't rely on technology to do for us as entertainment. Like
no machine can give me Andrew Parker.
Yeah.
Like only you can give me that.
Exactly. And that's something that I think, we're kind of basing businesses on ourselves and our abilities as entertainers. And
I say this as a enthusiastic capitalist. Yes, I'm a dirty, greedy capitalist. For the longest time, it's like we've had to work for the market.
Yes.
But we've been so good at that model, we're getting to a place where the market might be able to work for us. And I'm not saying this means we don't work anymore. Like, people need to work. People will go insane if they don't work.
Yeah.
Like, literally.
You ever take, like, 2 weeks vacation and you just lose your mind?
You just want to go back to work.
Yeah, like, I want to go back to work. I can't do this.
Exactly, because you don't feel like your life is secure.
Yeah. You don't feel,
You got to eat, dude. Mm-hmm. So I think we're moving towards a place where it's like the opportunities that it would lay before us might be in labors that are more enjoyable and less dangerous. Because, like, does a human being really need to do the most dangerous jobs in the world anymore if a machine can do it?
Right. Like yeah. Like those old school pictures of the guys, like, up on, like, a skyscraper eating lunch on like a beam. Like
yeah, exactly.
Like,
do we need to put them in that danger anymore?
Of course, yeah. Like nowadays, it's like they could just have like drones or some shit do that
Exactly.
job. You know what I mean? Like,
and they could drive the drone, which
course.
that's going to be huge. If you can get like a drone pilot license, you're going to be good in like 20 years.
Yeah, you're gonna
Amazon's going to need you. The government's going to need you for the post office, which it's only a matter of time before that dies. I don't know. We started talking about this. The world's getting weird. We're headed towards a strange place, but like we can do some cool things if we can keep the game going.
Exactly.
If we can keep ourselves from like ripping each other's throats out, we can do some really cool stuff.
If we adapt to like the changes happening, you know what I mean? Like we can thrive in this. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, think about it. Think about everybody who lost a finger in the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah.
It's like they'd look at the people complaining about not having factories anymore and be like, what the fuck are you complaining about?
They'd find me complaining I don't have Wi-Fi. They'd be like, what's wrong with you?
Oh, you don't have Wi-Fi. I can't pick things up with my left hand anymore because I don't have a thumb. That's the thing. It's like Again, it's like we live in such a miracle society where like hot water is now just normal.
A given. Yeah.
You know, where like even like 60 years ago that wasn't the
case. Like I take a hot shower if I'm bored. Like I used to not be able to do that.
That used to be a luxury. Like that used to be like, I'm going to take this hot shower because I deserve it. It'll run up the hot water. Like I'm even more of a spoiled bitch. I don't pay water or heat in this apartment.
Oh, me neither.
It's both. Yeah, exactly. So it's like hot water for 30 minutes, baby.
I'll take a nap in that shower.
Oh my God. But it's like, I heard an interesting metaphor put that like, the thing about beauty is like beauty shines a light on everything that's ugly, you know, and there are things that are objectively beautiful, like right angles. You look at things that are straight, like that thing that's cut on my wall right there. Viewers can't see it, but if that wasn't cut into a perfect square, you wouldn't think it looked nearly as good.
Yes.
So there is objective beauty in the world, and like we're not talking about like feminine beauty or anything like that, but it's like now that things like hot showers, something that's beautiful for people, and like grocery stores that have endless supplies of food, all of that beauty is shining a light on the darker elements of our society. Things that haven't... It's like our economics and technology progressed at a much faster rate than social issues. And because they progressed so much quicker, it almost shined a light on the fact that socially we weren't progressing. Which is why, like, the civil rights movement kind of exploded in the blink of an eye in the mid-20th century.
Yeah.
You know? It's because we got TVs and radios and we all started communicating with one another. And we were like, oh, so that's a thing. You know?
Yeah.
And it's almost like we're in the second phase of that now, where TV and radio allowed our parents and grandparents to communicate with each other beyond their previous imagination. Things like smartphones and the internet have essentially like... Dude, you could be across the world and like you're 5 presses of my thumb away.
Yeah.
Like I could see your face in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 presses.
Like remember like long distance calling? How that was a thing.
What
nowadays,
was
that? Like yeah, exactly. Like that used to be a thing. Where like nowadays it's just like, oh okay, let me just
download WhatsApp.
Yeah, of
and
course.
Free communication across the world.
Let me message you. Let me like video call you. Like, you can do anything now. It made the world smaller. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Like, we're all interconnected. We can all.
It made the world smaller.
Anybody.
It made the world smaller, and for some people, it made the world flat.
Well, yeah, not wrong there.
The Petri dish, bro. It's all ice walls. It's all ice walls wherever if you go to the edges. But we gotta wrap this up soon.
Yeah.
I apologize to all my flat Earth viewers.
You're gonna get 3 dislikes on this YouTube video. You're gonna get a bad review on iTunes
I'm a greedy capitalist and I'm a round Earth shill. Let it be known. But we got to wrap this up. Again, I thank you for coming on. Please let the people know where they could find you, what you have coming up. Give them the full scoop.
Absolutely. All right, so let's start with Picked Last Podcast. In a bit of an off season, but you could follow us at Twitter at Picked Last Pod. You could check us out any podcast service, Spotify. Like I said, football's an off season, but you could check out Brian and Mike's baseball show. Bulldog Gaming, you could find us any podcast source, Spotify, you on YouTube, you could find us anywhere. And twitch.tv/Bulldog Gaming, one word. The Twitter is also Bulldog Gaming, one word. And then if you're in the Long Island area, look up No Defeat, come out to a show and hang out. Tell them the Lodge sent you.
Hell yeah. Where can they find you on Instagram?
Instagram at ParksXCore.
All right, motherfuckers, you heard it here first. Episode 21, Andrew Parker. Andrew, dude, thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gotta
This
do
was
this
a blast.
again. Gotta do
Absolutely.
this again.
We gotta get you back on pick glass, full duck. We gotta do the whole shebang.
The whole shebang. It'd be my pleasure.
Alrighty.
There we go.